Hello, Internet. Shane here again. Welcome back to Real Talk. This is episode 9. We're doing a two for today because, well, why not? So, last time we talked about personal relationships. This time we're going to be talking about the next category. And by category, I mean how I categorize relationships. And we're going to go with the practical relationship, the practical friendship. Now, Shane, what do you mean by practical relationship? How is a friendship practical? Well, that's what I'm here to explain. Practical relationships are they're not necessarily the people that you relate to the most. They're not necessarily the people that you even get along with the best. They're not necessarily the people that are most similar to you, but you understand each other. You understand each other, and certainly you enjoy each other for a variety of different reasons. It could be that you enjoy activities together, you respect each other's intelligence or wisdom. And practical friends, I would say, are excellent to have. I love having practical friends that I can do things with and that can show me different parts of life and can show me, kind of a little bit about like where they're coming from. It's that's not a very good way of describing it. Typically, practical friends are the people that you're going to be experiencing a lot of life with, doing your various activities, doing learning with, maybe even traveling with. They're not the people that you're going to sit and have a conversation with for like 3 hours, but it might be the people that you go out drinking with. Um, it might be the people who go out with to the clubs, that you go dancing with, that you travel with, that you play board games with. Um, they might be the people in your book club. They might be the people you go to concerts with. They're the people that you can trust in a practical way. If I needed to borrow money, if I needed somebody to watch my kid, I don't have a kid, but just purely for example, if I needed somebody, if I wanted to run a business with somebody, if I wanted to go traveling with somebody, if I wanted to, if I knew I wanted to hang out with someone and I didn't want to meet someone new, practical friends are where it's at. Now, like I said earlier, practical friends and personal friends and all the other categories, it's they're all circles within a Venn diagram. Whew, sorry. You can have friends that are both. You can have friends that, are more of one or another. But you can certainly have friends that are elements of both. But in my experience, practical friends are, sometimes, they dip their toe right into the personal aspect of relationships. But for the vast majority of things, practical friends typically stay kind of where they're at. And I think it has a lot to do with the way people form relationships and the way relationships work, and that people are, very reluctant to be vulnerable in front of one another, and people are reluctant to share themselves with other people. They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of what might happen. They're afraid of how we can. Oh my God, can you not? All right, they're afraid of how we can see, um, how we'll see them differently by when they if they tell us something. And for me personally, I don't really care. But I know for a lot of people, that's really important to them. And I also know for a lot of people, they're not necessarily as understanding. And that's really too bad. It's too bad that, I would say practical friends. I have a lot of trustworthy practical friends that, I visit every year, or that we travel together, we spend time together. Maybe we'll play games together. Maybe we'll go out to the bar, do karaoke, um, all sorts of stuff. But sometimes it's hard to you know to leap that hurdle, to cross into that boundary of really close, just visceral emotion and feeling and deepness in a relationship. And I talked a lot about that in the previous video, but that's really the big difference between what makes a personal friend and what makes a practical friend. But practical friends are great. There isn't. I guess there isn't much else to say about them. I could tell you about a couple that I have that I could say I have practical friends I haven't had a single, or maybe like you would say I've had half a personal conversation with, and I think that's fine because the friend I'm thinking about in particular, he's kind of a guarded individual. That's fine because we work really well together. Our personalities work well together, and we play off of each other really well, and we respect one another. And I think that's the most important part when it comes to practical relationships. And they can be like work relationships too, or whatever. That's not a good example at all. I don't even know why I said that, but there has to be a level of respect and a level of understanding and a level of I can't think of a better word than respect. You know, I guess a level of similarity too. You got to be able to share some common interests or have some sort of connection. Something that brings you together. And I guess that's it. But practical friends are fantastic, and if I were not to have personal friends, as I said before, I'd want to have as many personal friends as possible. I guess having practical friends are the next best thing. If I'm traveling and I need to stay with somebody, they're the people I ask. If sometimes, and then sometimes if I need advice, I can still ask them that too. They fill a little bit of every role, but they're more for practical reasons, which is why I came up with the name. They're more, I guess, physically useful. They're more, if I need to borrow something, or if I need to trust them to watch something for me. uh, you know I left a pair of headphones at one of their houses, and I was able to get it back like a year later or something like that. Granted, it you know wasn't exactly the place I wanted it to be, but I got it back. So I don't know. Practical friends are a very interesting concept or thing to talk about. Maybe some people would consider it more platonic. I don't think so, because I think that, like I said, it can cross that boundary. It's not that there can't be anything there, and it can be very confusing, especially if we're talking about relationships with the gender that you're attracted to. Um, yeah, but I guess that's it. I don't think I'm going to talk about platonic relationships really, because I guess I'll have to think about that more. I will talk about the third one though in another video. I believe I'm going to call it convenience. Convenient relationships. By far the worst and by far the most disposable of relationships, and one that's unfortunately uh, affected me a lot, and I have a lot of opinions about. Practical friends are great though. I think that they can be just as long lasting as personal relationships as well. And I think that also with personal relationships, They require a certain level of maintenance. They require a certain level of connection, of upkeep, in order for the friendship or relationship to keep going. That's very possible. I had practical relationships with so many people, like throughout high school, for instance, and I care very much about those people, probably more than they cared about me. And I would consider them practical friends, but it's been just over 10 years since then. It's very possible that they don't see it, I wouldn't be able to relate to them in the same way anymore. Ugh, sorry. It's the light. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Next time we're going to talk about convenient relationships, friendships of convenience. I'll come up with a better name than that. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe. God, I hate myself for saying that, honestly. But other than that, it's been a shame. Ask me any of your questions. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time. Bye. Have a great life. Have a great life. Almost forgot. Damn it. Bye.